So I'm just about to start wiping down my last profile, my last series of posts in my vlogging profile, comments on other people's videos, and I couldn't. Like, the censorship is just outrageous. I could not get the post through. What I was able to do was I was able to split it up into paragraphs, meaning as though the way that the filter is acting is, or one of the things that it's acting on is this refusal to allow me to present a coherent thought. I'm only allowed to present smart-ass comments. So I split it up into 8 parts, and I posted it here. I keep saying that this is my last comment. This will probably be my last comment, because I am clearing this out. My other page is wiped down completely, and I think that the nature of the comment will make it clear. Part 1. I'm being horribly censored, and have been for months. So I'm going to have to post this in bits and pieces. I'm trying to get around some kind of spam filter, but it's not actually a spam filter. It's an ideas filter. Part 2. So I've been following the election from up in Canada, where I'm a fairly objective observer, and I happen to have a mathematical background. I'm the only person that I'm aware of that called for a split in Michigan, based simply on polling data. Part 3. I think that what you're seeing is just classic ballot box stuffing in the city districts. Cook County and downtown Boston were the ones with the biggest psychological outcomes, although have a little patience with the pacifists, because it's the delegate count that matters. And whether Bernie carries a state with 55 or loses it with 45 doesn't matter a lot, even if it adds up. He's not behind because he lost Illinois. He's behind because he got beaten in the Southeast. And he has to find somewhere where he can win by similar margins to balance it out. But those were the ones with the biggest psychological outcomes. That's Chicago and Boston to this point. But I think we've also seen it in Cleveland, Detroit, Atlanta, and now Phoenix. Part 4. The way this works is that she floods the early voting results with mail-in and absentee ballots. This tactic was very clear in both Ohio and Arizona, as well as Illinois and Missouri, where the initial results came in with her up around 75-25. She's basically giving herself a huge head start, 50,000 plus votes. Then when the actual votes come in, they have to make up the difference. And you can add in the voter suppression tactics on top of this. Part 5. What that means is that there really isn't a conspiracy with the exit polls. You claim the data is staying put all night. That actually isn't the case, from what I've seen. Rather, the margins get closer and closer all night. And that is actually a classic sign of data rigging. You know, when you start off with a big lead and it gets, it willows down. Part 6. In fact, the reason the networks are calling it so early is that they would expect, if the votes are fair, that the early voting would be roughly the same as the late voting. If the networks were looking for it, they would notice that the results that they're seeing are very suspicious. They shouldn't be watching the tallies narrow predictably over and over. An election where Clinton gets 75% with early voters and 40% with day of voters is just about the most obvious fraud you could contemplate. But that is in fact what we're seeing in state after state. Part 7. But you have to understand that Clinton can't do this by herself. This is a full party effort. And what it means is that the party had already chosen its candidate before the voting started. And the outcome was never in doubt. The party is just expecting senators to act as bait. That's all this process was ever about. Senators will not be the Democratic nominee. And the idea that he ever would be was never seriously on the table. Part 8. The thing is that Sanders has to know this. What you're going to find out in the next few weeks is whether he's been playing along the whole time, was just doing outreach for Hillary, or whether this was a plan from the start to use the Democratic primary as a launching pad for a run as an independent. Part 9. For right now, she's no doubt going to pull the same trick in Seattle. He should get something like 75% in Washington, but it will probably roughly split due to early voting mail-ins. And the race will be officially done. You'll have to see what he does next. And